Electromagnetic fields are invisible to the human eye, but negatively affect our health. They come from our everyday devices, cell phones, tablets, Wi-Fi routers, and game consoles. Studies have shown that repeated and prolonged exposure to EMFs can cause adverse side effects like headaches, fatigue, stress and irritability, or worse, cancer. In fact, the World Health Organization classified wireless radiation as a Class 2B carcinogenic, and the American Cancer Society featured a study where thermographic imaging showed significant changes to brain tissue after participants held a cell phone to their heads for 15 minutes. Even Apple, one of the world's leading tech companies, admits that the iPhone emits dangerous radiation levels.
This is a big time bomb ticking.
This is no accident. Indeed, it is by design.
I mean, seriously?
It was my mistake.
I mean, I think we can all feel it.
To try to make these products as addictive as
400%
possible.
spike in dopamine.
It literally is a point now where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are.
The way the technologist Jaron Lanier puts it is that these companies offer you shiny treats in exchange for minutes of your attention and bytes of your personal data, which can then be packaged up and sold.
What happened is that the attention economy and this race for attention got more and more competitive. And the more competitive it got to get people's attention on, say, a news website, the more they need to add these design principles, these more manipulative design tactics, as ways of holding on to your attention.
You don't realize it, but you are being programmed.
Social media tools are designed to be addictive. The actual desired use case of these tools is that you fragment your attention as much as possible throughout your waking hours. That's how these tools are designed to use. Well, we have a growing amount of research which tells us that if you spend large portions of your day in a state of fragmented attention, so large portions of your day where you're constantly breaking up your attention, take a quick glance, do a just check, and just quickly look at Instagram, that this can permanently reduce your capacity for concentration. I am especially worried about this when we look at the younger generation coming up, which is the most saturated in this technology.
And it's very addictive because if you pull on the slot machine arm enough, you will win. And you never know which pull will reward you.
This is social media depression because whereas everyone's looking at their feed and they're comparing their lives to other people, their highlights of other people's lives.
Wow.
And there's actually less life satisfaction, more sadness, depression, and stuff like that.
Here's the thing. The world we live in isn't real. Social media isn't real. And by design, social media rewards us for showing our best life. The edited, posed, champagne, Michelin star, holiday, orchestrated best angle of our life, the highlight reel. But you don't ever see real life, the 99% of our lives, the behind the scenes, the unglamorous, unfiltered, day-to-day, bland normality. And you end up comparing your behind the scenes to other people's fake highlight reel and using others as a mirror or benchmark for how you should look, how successful you should be, or how you should live. These fake comparisons will only serve to make you feel inadequate and inferior to something that isn't even real.
We are in a really bad state of affairs right now, in my opinion. It is eroding the core foundations of how people behave by and between each other. And I don't have a good solution. You know, my solution is I just don't use these tools anymore. I haven't for years. It's created huge tension with my friends, huge tensions in my social circles. And it's weird, I guess I kind of just innately didn't want to get programmed. And so I just tuned it out. But I didn't confront it. And now to see what's happening, it really bums me out.
Back in the 1970s and the early 80s at Xerox PARC, when Steve Jobs first went over and saw the graphical user interface, the way people talked about
Influence the
computers
world.
and what computers were supposed to be was a bicycle for our minds. That here we are, you take a human being and they have a certain set of capacities and capabilities. And then you give them a bicycle and they can go to all these new distances. They're empowered to go to these brand new places and to do these new things, to have these new capacities. And that's always been the philosophy of people who make technologies. How do we create bicycles for our minds to do and empower us to feel and access more? Now, when the first iPhone was introduced, it was also the philosophy of these technologies. How do we empower people to do something more? And what And in those days, it wasn't manipulative because there was no competition for attention. Photoshop wasn't trying to maximize how much attention it took from you. It didn't measure its success that way. And the internet overall had been in the very beginning not designed to maximize attention. It was just putting things out there, creating these message boards. It wasn't designed with this whole persuasive psychology that emerged later.
If you feed the beast, that beast will destroy you. If you push back on it, we have a chance to control it and rein it in. And it is a point in time where people need to hard break from some of these tools and the things that you rely on. The short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works.
Now, there are not many historians who would be put on the main stage of the Congress Center of the World Economic Forum. His ideas are very provocative and something that all of you should pay very close attention to now. Professor Harari, Professor Yuval, the floor is yours.
I want to talk to you today about the future of our species. We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. These will be the main products of the economy, of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Those who control the data control the future not just of humanity, but the future of life itself. Because today, data is the most important asset in the world. And if too much of the data becomes concentrated in too few hands, humanity will split not into classes. It will split into species, into different species. Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. There is a lot of talk these days about hacking computers and email accounts and bank accounts and mobile phones, but actually we are gaining the ability to hack human beings. Now, what do you need in order to hack a human being? You need two things. You need a lot of computing power, and you need a lot of data, especially biometric data. Not data about what I buy or where I go, but data about what is happening inside my body and inside my brain. Until today, nobody had the necessary computing power and the necessary data to hack humanity. Even if the Soviet KGB or the Spanish Inquisition followed you around everywhere, 24 hours a day, watching everything you do, listening to everything you say, still, they didn't have the computing power and the biological knowledge necessary to make sense of what was happening inside your body and brain and to understand how you feel and what you think and what you want. But this is now changing because of two simultaneous revolutions. On the one hand, advances in computer science, and especially the rise of machine learning and AI, are giving us the necessary computing power. And at the same time, advances in biology, and especially in brain science, are giving us the necessary understanding, biological understanding. You can really summarize 150 years of biological research since Charles Darwin in 3 words. Organisms are algorithms. This is the big insight of the modern life sciences, that organisms, whether viruses or bananas or humans, they are really just biochemical algorithms. And we are learning how to decipher these algorithms. Now, when the two revolutions merge, when the infotech revolution merges with the biotech revolution, what you get is the ability to hack human beings. And maybe the most important invention for the merger of infotech and biotech is the biometric sensor that translates biochemical processes in the body and the brain into electronic signals that a computer can store and analyze. And once you have enough such biometric information and enough computing power, you can create algorithms that know me better than I know myself.
I spent a few years really focusing on finding success through social media, on building followers and subscribers. And I think I was under the illusion that those things would make me feel good and make me happy.
It's truly one of the big problems that we face today is that people simply don't question. They don't ask enough questions. They simply roll over on command and do what they're told and never ask why. You know, if people were to look at the system and simply ask why their lives are in the state that it's in, it would probably make a difference as well. But people don't even pay attention to that. They just think it's normal for them to be living in this state of debt slavery. It's what they've grown up with, so it's what they think reality is. And they never question it. They never ask about the monetary system. They never ask why they have to pay to be alive and why we are constantly at war all the time and why things just continue to get harder and more difficult. You know, if we have societies that are constructed to serve people, why is it that people are discarded so easily and so readily and so often within the constructs of these societies? Now, these are questions people need to ask, and they just don't. They're so busy running on the treadmill, collecting the paper they need to pay to be alive, that they never ask why that fee is required, why they have to pay in the first place. They just think that it's just the way things are because that's the way the world works. But it isn't, folks. It's the way the world has been constructed, and it's a very, very insidious system that could be healed very quickly. You know, we could stop all of this very quickly. I've said so many times, we could heal the world in a day if people simply woke up to themselves. And that has been the point of these shows right since the beginning, is attempting to get people to wake up to themselves and simply see the fiction that they're swimming in. And see how easily we could change this and how easily we could free ourselves from this control, but how easily we could stop all these wars and stop all this destruction and move in a better direction. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to do, folks. Most people think it's an insurmountable problem, but it isn't. You know, it's our compliance and our tolerance of evil, our tolerance of wrong behavior that causes this whole system to function. If we stop doing that, if we actually step into our moral compass, then the system can't function. It's really that simple. You know, in fact, it's so simple that people can't see the forest for the trees. That's the problem. You know, people want change, but they don't want to change. It's always really been the same old thing, hasn't it?